Hi everyone, welcome back to the podcast, folks. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope you're all geared up to have a lovely, or hope you've been having, a lovely weekend. We've got some cute new pictures, some updates, a few things to talk about in today's podcast. So hit that thumbs up button or that subscribe button, please, if you haven't already. Nice to see Trinette, Louise, Susie Q, Health and Fitness, Miss Viv, Cecilia, or Cecile, sorry, Olive Perry, hey. Thanks everybody for coming in the chat early. So Miss Getty doesn't lie is what I like to call Meghan when these types of glorious pictures comes out. Miss Getty doesn't lie was out and about supporting her friend Kelly, aka Heart Mum. My goodness, aging gracefully, aging beautifully, looking so fresh, loved, moisturized, and like we actually go to the dentist. Meghan looks so good. The dress, by the way, I think it was over $3,000, and I think it was by Ralph Lauren. Sold out in every size. And people will tell you that there's no market for Meghan's jam, but people are buying $1,000 dresses that she's wearing. Nothing that we don't know, of course, but we have to just remind the haters and the trolls, because they live in Delulu land. Benjamin, you said, Anne, what's all this talk of Charles abdicating early for William? It is nonsense or something. I think the press needs to fill common space. That, and William has been leaking against his father for a while. I've been saying it. I do believe that Charles is a lot more ill than what they're telling us. And it's like William is gearing up for his coronation day. He's been leaking for the pretty much since Charles's diagnosis became public. And Charles had to rein him in. Dear oh dear. Anyway, let's enjoy these gorgeous pictures of Meghan at her bestie's Alliance of Moms gala dinner. This has gone from strength to strength. So Alliance of Children's Rights and Alliance of Moms, that is run by Kelly, who is pregnant. I just know Meghan and the girlies threw her the best baby shower. And Kelly actually lost her son. And she posts about it quite frequently. She writes very beautiful posts, by the way. If you're not following her, go follow her, Heart Mum, on Instagram. She writes very beautiful and thoughtful posts about grieving and loss. And so Meghan came out to support her best girlie. Even when the paparazzi wanted to take picture of just Meghan said, no, I'm not going to take any solo pictures. I'm here to support my friend. And they walked off the red carpet. Truly a girl's girl. A girl's girl. And I'm sorry to be a troll as well today, but since the trolls be trolling, I'm gonna troll as well. Look at the difference. Joy and no joy. Someone who begged and chased that crown versus someone who is a woman of her own making. Someone who was her own woman before she walked into the royal institution, and someone who's still trapped in it and is desperate for that crown. And Meghan's free. And it's just insane to me that trolls like Tom Bauer, who we will get to in a moment. He's desperate to be sued. He may get what he wished for. They want to continue to honestly make it seem like Harry and Meghan lost something by leaving, that Harry and Meghan are miserable. Pictures speak 1,000 words, and here we have some pictures. I mean, Kate was at a whole state visit when this picture was taken. And they want you to believe all of that pomp and pageantry. That's what makes people happy. That's what gives people joy. It doesn't. Having real friends is what gives people joy. Being free to be who you want to be is what gives people joy. Not having to wear Mary Poppins cosplay is what gives people joy. And I was looking through Kelly's Instagram stories and some of the women that she posts, people in their circle, all very successful. You know, success breeds success. There's this one lady here, Amanda Klutz, over 700,000 followers. Has her own podcast and show. Emmy nominated. This is who Meghan is around now that she's back in America. Now that she's back at home. Accomplished, vibrant women. I mean, I don't know who this Amanda Klutz is, but she is one glamorous, gorgeous looking woman. And these are women that are very accomplished also. This is her circle now. Do you ever see Kate looking this happy and vibrant around other women? You don't. You don't even see her around other women. I don't think that Kate has any friends, by the way. I don't think she does. I think she's very isolated. I think she's very miserable. I think she's very paranoid. Haven't seen her with what's her name? Rose, pretty much since those notorious pictures were taken. From the time they were at that charity dinner or lunch on whatever it was. And then Kate was forced to go on a hunting walk or wherever it is they had gone, and paparazzi just happened to be there. Well, actually, I don't remember whether it was for a casual walk or whether it was for the walk, the Sarrington walk. I can't remember, but Rose was there. So they made them do that whole stupid walk just to get paparazzi pictures to dispel affair rumors. Like, this is the life. It's all about image. Yeah, Benjamin, Meghan manifests like no one else. Manifests, but also works very hard and always has done from the time she was young. Okay, so that was the event. Yeah, and Meghan, again, sticking to her very signature style. Simple, clean. I mean, I would love to see her in dazzling, over-the-top couture. Met Gala is coming up. There are a lot of top names on that list. A lot of black biracial Americans on that list. So fingers crossed. I don't know. I don't know if we'll see her there. It would be a hell of a moment. I feel like the way everything has been building up, if Meghan was to appear at the Met Gala, this would actually be the perfect year. And we saw her step out in Balenciaga for the Balenciaga show. So dressed by Balenciaga. I think the timing would be good. All right, let's go to let's go to your comments if there are any, and then we'll get on to this Tom Bauer nonsense. But just so we're clear, Meghan before, Meghan after, still at peace. Benjamin, you said put Lady C in that suit. She would enjoy the publicity. What, the suit that Kate was wearing? I actually have something to say about that, but I'll get onto that later. Leslie, you said they are not going to have Kate have any friends because she might have a mind of her own and be too free-spirited to think, and they don't want that. They want to keep her controlled, indeed. But having said that, I do agree with that, but I also think Kate made her bed and she's very miserably laying in it at this point. Mina, you said, if Kate was smart, she would do what her mother-in-law did and break from that institution, but she wants the crown so badly, by all means enjoying it in misery. I have personally said this over and over again. Some people disagree with me. I think that Kate was offered divorce and divorce money, and she said no. That's just my personal opinion. I think William wanted to divorce her. At this point, William isn't even trying to pretend to like his wife. They're out in public. He's sulking. He's looking away. He looks happier around other people than he does around Kate. So it is my consistent belief that Kate was offered divorce. She was offered divorce money, and she didn't want to take it because she didn't want to leave the institution. Getting that crown is more important to her and her mother and her family than anything else. Even if it would be the wise thing to do, just take the money and walk away. Because what are you walking away from? A sinking ship? You should be running, sprinting for your life away from this institution. But I don't think she would have any personality, any passions, any sense of who she is outside this institution. And that's why she stays and stays miserable. Leslie, you said, we have to understand Meghan is royalty. Now she cannot go to a place like the Met Gala, so we have to stop asking. Why can't she go to a place like the Met Gala? Because she's royalty. She went to Paris Fashion Week to see Balenciaga and she sat at the front row. What does royalty, the fact that she's royalty, have to do with it? She's not tied to that institution and she's not controlled by that institution anymore. I think that much has been proven, that Meghan will do as she pleases. I don't think it has anything to do with the fact that she's tied to royalty. Because why would it matter if she went to Balenciaga? I don't think a lot of people actually realize that the money from the Met Gala goes to funding the Costume Institute. That's literally what it's for. So I don't see what Meghan being royalty has to do with it. She could more than afford a ticket if she wanted to spend that money, but usually what happens is, you know, somebody sponsors a table. Bonnie, you said if Kate walked away, she wouldn't have a life. They would hound her like Diana because if she left the institution. Yeah, that's probably what's also stopping her, to be honest. But at this point, I think that they would probably have a period where she was hounded, like anytime a royal's getting divorced, the press go goo goo gaga. And then I honestly think that it would fade out pretty quickly. Like, I feel like people would just move on. Because nobody's even coming out to see the royals anymore. Like, I just don't feel like people would care about that. You would get the initial and much expected media furor. Oh my god, another royal divorce. I feel like it would actually fizzle out real quick. Because, honey, we're in different times. How much attention can you give to a royal divorce when we're going into World War III? In fact, this is probably the best time for them to initiate that royal divorce. Just my opinion. Gak, imagine Anna Wintour sponsoring her. I can see it. I think there's a lot of wealthy people that would. Maybe if Jay and Bay got a table. Benjamin, I'm not sure about that. Diana was once in a lifetime thing. No, I feel like the furor wouldn't be necessarily because people see Kate the way they see Diana. It would just be more because the press would want to rinse the money-making machine of a royal divorce as much as they could. So that's why I think there would be the initial, oh my God, another royal divorce. And then it would literally just fade. Like I just don't see that the interest is there, that they would for very long hound her the way that Diana was hounded, because yeah, like Diana was, it was one of a kind, and you still wanted to know how the fairy tale ends after she left the royal family and she was doing so many amazing things to charity. I can just imagine Kate fading away into obscurity, maybe marrying another aristo. Um, Bootness, I wish that Squaddies would stop with the Met Gala hype. It's not what it used to be. I think it's below Meghan at this point. I mean, I think, yeah, I think I can half agree with that. I think the Met Gala isn't what it used to be. Do I think it's below Meghan? Well, listen, it's a charity dinner that's very ostentatious, as it's meant to be. It's meant to be couture. It's meant to be over the top, and it's kind of actually meant to be meant to be elitist. That's kind of what makes the Met Gala the Met Gala. And the money goes to the Costume Institute. So I don't really think it's above or below anyone. It's a very important date on the fashion calendar, and for people who follow fashion, it is. So I'm thinking about, Meghan being there more through the lens of someone who is very influential, and literally moves items within, with the drop of a hat. That's more the context I'm thinking of, why Meghan would be there. She is a fashion influencer, and I think even the term fashion influencer is far too light to use for Meghan. She's more of a transformer at this point than an influencer. She's a transformer. We need to think of a new word. She's a transformer. Okay, so let's get on to Toilet Bowels, as I like to call him. Toilet Bowels out here admitting what I guess we all already knew, but if you're gonna say it out loud, not even with shame. So this from Feminagra. Toilet Bowels, has spent years presenting himself as a serious investigator, cutting through spin and exposing uncomfortable truths, but his latest television appearance managed to do something rather more revealing. In the space of a few minutes, Toilet Bowels openly conceded that he had used comments from online trolls in his new book, then appeared irritated when Ben Shepherd, who was the presenter, pressed him on whether that did not fundamentally undermine the credibility of his work. It was a remarkable moment, not least because Bowles did not seem to grasp how damaging the admission sounded. Listen, these people have got so much confidence at this point, and I bet he's probably protected by the palace as well. So they just don't care. If anything, when Toilet Bowels said stuff like this, I think him and the other rota rats and trolls are just laughing at their audience. He's literally saying, I can make up any ish I want about Harry and Meghan, and because you lot don't like Harry and Meghan, you're going to believe it. That's essentially what Toilet Bowels is saying when he says, I just take stuff from trolls online. Mind you, this isn't the first admission like this we've had from a royal rota rat. He wanted the authority of a carefully sourced biographer while also defending the inclusion of faceless online abuse as though it was somehow part of the historical record. It was not a minor slip, it went to the heart of the problem. Indeed. The moment that stood out came when Bauer discussed a passage on Meghan and online reactions to her appearance at a party for Kerry Washington. Rather than rejecting the internet's more toxic voices, he confirmed he had drawn directly from trolls. So why is this person then being platformed? So he's now admitted that he's a troll. He should not be allowed on any platform ever again. Not that he should have been allowed on a platform in the first place. They've all been proved as trolls. They have access to nothing. They know nothing. Vanity Fair had to write an article full of lies to force the Sussex spokespeople into refuting those lies for them to know anything. And the very little that the Sussex spokesperson said, yes, they are continuing to work on projects, that's probably the most we have ever had confirmed in a while. He went further, admitting he did not believe the claim, but included it regardless, arguing it formed part of Meghan's life. The Standard raises obvious concerns. If unverified online claims are deemed sufficient, the distinction between reporting and amplifying hostility becomes almost meaningless. Ben Shepherd understood the problem immediately. If a writer includes trolls in a book and then admits on air that he does not necessarily believe what they said, why should readers trust the rest of the sourcing either? That was the real issue, and Bowles never answered it. Of course he wouldn't. And if you are one of the people who reads Toilet Bowles' books, well, now you know. I mean, I feel like these people honestly know that all of the rubbish written about Harry and Meghan is indeed rubbish. They want to believe it. They want to believe the lies. When the sourcing problem becomes a story. What ultimately destabilized Toilet Bowles' argument was not simply that he cited trolls, but that he admitted doing so while still presenting his work as authoritative. Once he admitted he had incorporated anonymous online voices into his narrative, he moved the focus away from Meghan and Prince Harry and onto the reliability of his own process. Ben Shepherd recognized that immediately. If a source is both anonymous and, by the author's own admission, not necessarily believed, then its inclusion is not evidentiary, it's editorial. At that point, the book stops functioning as an investigation and begins to resemble a curated collection of hostility. I mean, what's even more amazing is it is still difficult to sue, even though he's outright admitted that it's lies. How do you just make up lies about someone? And also, on the publisher's part, to publish this, it's not even like Toilet Bowles is self-publishing this on Amazon. He is being published by a legitimate publisher, and they're publishing lies that he's admitted to. How are these people not being held accountable? How do we have a legal system that doesn't allow to go after people like Toilet Bowles? Bauer sidesteps the increasingly blurred boundary between so-called trolls and the media figures who claim to report on them. He is indeed a troll. He's a professional troll, disguised as a reporter, despite growing scrutiny of that overlap over the past year. We reported on Niall Gardner's relentless campaign targeting Prince Harry's visa records. Oh, these are the people that are linked to the Heritage Foundation, and the emergence of an alleged burner account that appeared to troll on his behalf while pushing identical anti-Meghan talking points. So what Feminagra is referring to is this. And I don't know if you'll even be able to see it properly, but this is what they're talking about. And it's not just this Neil Gardner guy that's been caught out doing this. Richard Eden, aka Maureen, that's where all these jokes came from. Why? Because Richard Eden posted as Richard Eden and then responded to the same comment thread as Maureen. And a similar thing happened with Neil Gardner. The account did not merely echo his views, it strengthened them, manufacturing the appearance of broader public outrage while pushing identical narratives from an anonymous voice before disappearing when scrutiny intensified. Richard Eden has also faced persistent online speculation about anonymous accounts operating within the same anti-Meghan discourse, adding to the pattern that many observers have begun to question more closely. Taken together, these cases point to something more deliberate than random online hostility. They suggest an ecosystem in which journalists and commentators are not merely reporting on public sentiment, but are, at times, accused of participating in its creation through anonymous or semi-anonymous accounts that amplify, recycle, and legitimize anti-Meghan narratives. Recognizing that context changes what troll really means. It is no longer about outsiders shouting from the margins, but a system where media figures, anonymous accounts, and published stories combine to manufacture outrage and pass it off as public sentiment. Indeed, it's manufactured outrage that then has real world consequences, like Harry and Meghan and their family consistently being in danger, to the point where authorities, Met officers, former Met officers, protection officers have come out and let it be known that this is what all of this trolling, this manufactured trolling, is doing. It is amplifying the thoughts of the lowest of the low and reinforcing their worldview, which is based on lies. I mean, you've even had all this nonsense in the Daily Mail this week about Ted Sarandos, the CEO of Netflix, unfollowing Meghan. I don't believe that he was ever following her. So, by incorporating trolls' voices in his book, Bauer is not documenting the climate around Meghan and Harry so much as reinforcing it. The distinction is critical because once amplification replaces verification, the narrative begins to feed on itself. Indeed. As Shepherd pressed him on this point, Bowles appeared increasingly unwilling to engage with the implications. He attempted to reduce the issue to a minor detail, but the question remained central. If the sourcing is inconsistent, the authority of the conclusions cannot be separated from that weakness. What made the exchange notable was not simply the pushback, but Bowles' response to it. A writer who has built a career scrutinizing others struggled to sustain scrutiny of his own methods, and the balance was difficult to ignore. You know, using troll commentary as source material, how did we get here? How did we get here? It's irresponsible. All right, let's go to your comments. You know, and this is the same Tom Bowles who showed up to Invictus looking for Harry and Meghan. He used Sophie Chandauka's Centre Bali dispute as ammunition. You lot saying about influencers in the Met Gala. I think there was a period in which they were using influencers, but didn't they remove the influencers now? Because they were saying that it was watering it down. Alex, you said Bowles' first book about Meghan had to be taken off the shelves in the US. He was sued and had to pay Jeremy Clarkson because of all the lies in his book about the former Labour leader. Well, there could be grounds to sue him then. I hope there are. Okay. Well, I am surprised, and I'm surprised that Tom Bowles would just outrightly say this. I don't know how it helps him that he did. I don't really think he was thinking. I think he's just a jealous, senile clown. And he's going to land himself in even more hot water. It is just so deranged and disturbing, the obsession these people have with Meghan. I think that Meghan broke something inside of them. It's like she let them know how basic, mediocre, uneventful, unglamorous, unmoisturized they really are. And it's like they will never forgive her for that. They will never forgive Meghan for holding up a mirror to their faces and saying, look in the mirror. And not because she wanted to. Sometimes, you know, when you're a gifted one, a chosen one, you become a mirror to other people. And instead of sitting with that and wanting to become better and do better, they would rather choose hate and deflect their insecurities onto you. Truly sad. Yeah, let's just wrap up with a little bit of funnies. The outfit that Kate wore to the state dinner. Now, this is what it looks like on the model, by the way, and this is what it looks like on Kate, with someone doing some humor, bringing in, you know, Ryanair, because it does kind of look like an air hostess outfit on Kate. I believe that the original outfit was meant to be more boxy and oversized at the top, cinched at the waist, and a lot longer all the way down to the ankle. Now they've altered it to fit exactly on Kate, which is why I think it looks very weird. And then the white lining and the collar, without the oversized look, it it does just look like a fitted air hostess outfit. It's meant, you can see the way the model's wearing it, the length of it, the height of the model, the earrings, the hair. It's meant to be a kind of like an edgy piece. This is the type of thing that I would see someone wearing if they go into Fashion Week, you know, a very edgy New Yorker. And why they paired it with that hat on Kate, awful. And I don't even really comment that much on Kate's outfits, but this was truly awful. Shout out to whoever decided to add some Ryanair humor. And also, just a reminder, especially as us in this space, we like to be a bit more media literate. Be careful, folks, with AI. There was a report that Justin Bieber and Usher had a confrontation at Beyonce's party, Beyonce and Jay-Z's Oscar party. Now, I knew straight away this was AI. You know how? Because Beyonce and Jay-Z have a very strict policy on photos at their private events. And I was like, who got this photo out? So that was the first sign it was fake. But this is how real these photos have gotten. Like, this has probably got to be one of the realest AI photos that I've seen. A, because everybody actually looks the way they're meant to look. And B, even the graininess. It got the realness down right to that TMZ graininess. Also, how I know it's fake is Justin Usher having a confrontation. Beyonce would have a straight face. She didn't even have a shot face in the elevator video. Be careful with AI, folks. Be careful. Zendaya and Tom Holland, is rumored that they got married and had their wedding, and there were fake photos of Zendaya and Tom Holland at their fake wedding all over the internet. It is truly, truly scary, the direction we're going in with this AI. Be careful. Okay. Oh, hey, Lottie. Yes, indeed, I am on. I'm about to go off. But thank you for joining. Clark, he said, Bauer and the rest of them are so comfortable talking ish that he didn't think anything of it. Yeah. And the trolls are still going to believe what he says because they want to believe it. The trolls at this point, I think, just, there's no saving them. There's just no saving them. There's nothing you can say to them. They're just going to be what they're going to be. And their obsession is outrageous. Okay, folks. I'm going to leave things there. Thank you so much, as always, for popping in. I do hope that you enjoy the rest of your weekend. I think I might do call-ins tomorrow. So anybody wants to call in, please come back tomorrow and we can have maybe a bit of a round table discussion. All right. Thank you so much, folks. Enjoy the rest of your day. Ciao.